Mara's shoes squeaked on the quartz floor as she followed the patient liaison past walls of living moss and soft glow panels. Lucida Life Fertility Institute was designed to soothe, piped-in birdsong, tea-scented air, furniture the color of sunrise. She clutched Dev's hand anyway, knuckles white. 5 years of negative tests and silent breakfasts had led them here, to the clinic's newest offering, a package called Dream Conception. Imagine knowing your child before the first kick, the advertisements had whispered from subway billboards. Meet the miracle you're destined to love. In Lucida Life's version of tomorrow, a couple's combined genome was uploaded, run through predictive algorithms, and rendered into immersive virtual reality. Each embryo received an avatar built from accelerated epigenetic models, a 6-year-old face extrapolated from cells barely older than stardust. Just a little legal housekeeping, the liaison said, seating them in a private alcove. A tablet slid forward with pages of consent. Most paragraphs were boilerplate. HIPAA clauses, data sharing language, liability caps. The final section was microscopic, a single block preceded by an asterisk. Mara zoomed in, squinted, then shrugged. The words blurred, morphing into an impenetrable tangle of biotechnical Latin and cross-referenced statutes. Her gaze skittered away, toward Dev, who winked and mouthed, "Science." They signed. Inside the VR suite, a technician pressed contact lenses smelling faintly of menthol to their eyes, tightened haptic gloves, and reminded them to speak gently. Your child's psyche is in early scaffolding. Emotional stability is critical. Then the room went black. A meadow unfurled. Grass bent under a phantom breeze, and the sky looked laundered, color impossible outside a dream. Mara's avatar body felt weightless, nerves humming with preternatural clarity. Beside her, Dev materialized, wearing the grin he reserved for fireworks and first snow. A figure ran toward them across the field, small, laughing, golden-eyed. The child barreled into Dev's arms, then hopped back to study them both. Freckles, cowlick, Mara's up-tilted nose, Dev's dimple. They waited for the rush of uncomplicated joy promised in every brochure. Instead, the boy glanced over his shoulder, as if listening for thunder. His laugh died. "Mama? Papa?" The voice splintered on the second word. "We're here," Mara breathed. She crouched, trying to recall the coaching. "Validate, don't project." "We wanted to meet you." The child's pupils dilated. "You shouldn't have come." Dev chuckled, assuming a glitch. "Buddy, we wanted to see you. His confidence faltered under the child's stare, ancient and appraising. "They're lying to you," the avatar whispered. "Don't sign the crimson page. Leave me here." Mara's skin prickled. "We didn't see a crimson page. It hides behind the asterisk." The boy rubbed his forearm as if it itched beneath the code, and Mara noticed a lattice of faint numbers scrolling beneath translucent skin. Chromosome coordinates. "Is this part of the simulation?" Dev called into the ether, voice aimed at unseen technicians. No reply. Only wind, rippling grass, and somewhere distant, an electronic heartbeat. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Mara asked, fighting gravity in her chest. "They edited me." The child's words were water seeping through cracks. "Cleaved me open, stitched things inside. Not for health." His mouth twisted, as if the next truth tasted poisonous. "For leverage." "Leverage how?" Dev demanded. The child looked up, and the meadow darkened as if dusk had been toggled on. "They need to see how the code behaves in a real world they don't control, so they give me parents who will love me too much to expose me." Mara took a staggering breath. "What did they do to you?" The boy pressed hand to sternum. The meadow dissolved, replaced by a holographic anatomy diagram. A second chromosomal helix unfurled next to a normal one. Sections glowed crimson. "Insert L zeta," he recited, voice gone clinical. "Somatic override, promoter never silences, auto-transmits." His gaze returned, shimmering. "It's a gene drive. I can rewrite anyone I reproduce with. Humans, maybe other species. They want to watch it spread. Dev's jaw worked soundlessly. Mara tasted bile. No, she whispered. You're sick. This is fear talking. The boy shook his head, tears suspended like prisms. Please don't let them wake me. A rippling alert appeared overhead. Session limit reached. The meadow pixelated. Mara! Dev shouted. He lunged for the child as static superimposed, but the avatar was already dissolving into voxels. The last visible fragment was the boy's eyes, terrified, pleading, before everything blinked out. They were upright in reclining chairs, visors lifting. Fluorescent lights replaced digital sky. A nurse smiled too brightly. Successful orientation. Room E14 is ready for your retrieval planning. Mara struggled to speak. The simulation glitched. Our avatar, he said something's wrong. First impressions can evoke unexpected symbolism, the nurse chirped. Dream conception surfaces latent parental anxieties. You'll debrief with counseling after retrieval. Dev yanked off his gloves. He talked about gene drives, L-zeta inserts. The nurse's smile twitched, then recalibrated. We'll note the feedback. They were ushered to a lounge with sea blue sofas and fruit-infused water. A counselor entered, a woman with silver hair and tranquilizer cadence. I reviewed your avatar's distress flag. Remember, simulations integrate predictive psychology from your own psyches. Gene drive might symbolize your fear of losing control. I hold a bioengineering degree, Dev said, voice brittle. That wasn't my subconscious. It was a protocol. The counselor steepled fingers. Dream conception uses deep generative networks. They may output advanced jargon without literal meaning. Our legal department assures full compliance with FDA guidelines. Mara's brain latched onto the word legal. She reached for her bag, pulled the signed tablet, and magnified the asterisked passage. It now blinked a faint red, as if heat just turned on. She scrolled. Clause 14b. Participants consent to incorporation, in any resultant zygote, of optional in vitro augmentations deemed beneficial by Lucida Life or its research affiliates, including but not limited to vectorized hereditary agents intended for population-scale therapeutic studies. Consent is irrevocable post-fertilization. Her stomach flipped. She handed the tablet to Dev. His face drained color. This is human experimentation, Mara said, voice trembling fury. We do not consent. The counselor's serenity fissured. You already did. She tapped the clause. Your embryo was created within the first minute of simulation. It's growing in microfluidic culture right now. Revocation would destroy proprietary material, exposing you to liability. Dev laughed, one syllable, hollow. Liability? That's our kid. Potential child, the counselor corrected. Legally Lucida. Life retains custodial rights until transfer. Mara rose. Then we'll walk away. Keep the embryo, refund us, we're done. A low hum vibrated through the chair legs, security doors locking. The counselor spoke gently. We can't allow that. Subjects must be raised in uncontrolled environments to assess phenotype drift. You two were selected for stability metrics. Income, marriage length, absence of criminal record. Ideal incubators. Mara's breath hissed. You'll force an implantation. Your own signatures permit transfer via ex utero gestation if you refuse. The counselor's eyes softened, almost pitying. Our artificial womb division is competent, but children flourish better with parents. Dev put an arm around Mara, as though shielding her from bullets of words. If we go public, an NDA binds you. Violation triggers penalties exceeding $20 million. Mara's mind raced. Could they fight lawsuits while raising a genetically weaponized child? She pictured the boy's eyes again. Hope crushed inside that meadow. He hadn't asked to be made. He'd begged not to. The counselor stood. You have 48 hours to confirm implantation. Meanwhile, lodging is provided on level 6. Try the lavender cookies. Excellent for stress. She exited. The lock disengaged with a click. On the table lay 2 access badges. Dev whispered, "We need to see the embryo." Mara nodded, pulse thundering. "And we need proof." They found nighttime corridors deserted, noise swaddled by acoustic wall gels. Door scanners pinged as their guest badges printed false clearances. Someone expected obedience. Marble led to glass lifts. They descended to sub-level 3, cryogenic storage. Inside, nitrogen fog licked steel racks, each vial a galaxy of potential. A lone technician dozed at a terminal, visor caps over ears. Mara tiptoed to the workstation. Dev pocketed an access dongle dangling from the sleeping man's belt like a keychain. Database search. Patient ID 7785. 3 embryos, 1 labeled OGZ Prime. Status: accelerated culture, day 3, cell count 4096. Genetic variants flagged experimental. Mara clicked open the annotation file. A mosaic of colored loci flashed, the crimson blocks reminiscent of the boy's overlay. She inserted a portable drive. Files poured like liquid quartz. Every so often, the progress bar hiccuped at encrypted segments. Dev overrode with scripts he'd written for college pranks, never imagining they'd hacked their child. An alarm blatted. Motion sensor? They pulled drives free, stuffed them in Mara's bra. Dev scanned rows until he found the vial. A thumb-size ampule, aglow with bioluminescence, tagged with their names. Mara lifted it, cold burning her skin through gloves. 4,000 cells, not yet aware. "Little star," she muttered. Footsteps pounded. Security rushed in, suits shimmering with embedded LEDs. "Hands where we can see them." Dev raised his. Mara did not. Her arms circled the vial, instinct deeper than fear. A guard aimed a stun baton. At that moment, the sleeping technician jerked awake, pushing off headphones. He saw the scene, glanced at Mara's face, then flicked a master switch. Overhead klaxons roared as refrigeration units powered down and sprinkler mist hissed. Chaos. "Hold them," barked a guard, but condensation turned flooring slick. Dev lunged, elbowed one man. Mara slipped between racks. Embryo clutched. The technician slid beside her. "Take H14 corridor," he whispered. "Stairs lead outside. Run!" "Why help?" Mara stammered. His gaze flicked to her trembling hands. "Because my parents were subjects in 42, I know what I am." Then he shoved a rolling ladder into the aisle, blocking pursuit. Mara bolted. Dev caught up, bleeding lip. They found H14, sprinted through fire door stairwell, climbed 3 flights that felt carved from nightmare. An exit spilled onto a service alley behind the clinic. City air slapped them. Wet asphalt, flashing police drones overhead. They ducked beneath ventilation ducts. Dev checked phone. Offline, probably jammed. "Where do we go?" "To someone who'll listen." Mara's mind scrolled contacts. Reporters, bioethicists, Ellen from book club. Married to a state senator. But NDA threatened ruin. Cold glass rested against her palm. She looked at the glowing speck inside, imagined the pleading avatar. He said not to wake him. Dev exhaled. Maybe we don't. Mara swallowed. Could she destroy the vial? Release it from existence? She loved potential long before form. Her womb yearned for cradle songs. Yet to birth him might unleash genetic wildfire. Sirens dopplered near. Waste incinerators stood ahead. Industrial chimneys belching steam. One furnace door was ajar for maintenance. Dev realized first. We can end this now. Her heart detonated in ribcage beats. She cradled the ampule, saw minuscule spheres spinning in culture, oblivious. Is that mercy or murder? Both, he said, voice a raw chord. And maybe survival. She pictured a future, a toddler with golden eyes, laughter before comprehension of what lived inside. Growing older, learning he could change the genome of anyone he loved. Government men arriving with rifles and papers, headlines screaming about the plague child. She imagined him 20, hating parents who kept his secret version of slavery. Mara edged toward the furnace. Heat licked, sweat filmed her skin. She raised the vial, but her arms locked. She heard a voice not from memory, but from neurons etched by VR. "Mama." Tears blurred everything. Dev's hand touched hers gently. "We can find another way." Could they? Laws courts? Expose clinic? Maybe sample on flash drive would convict Lucidalife, lead to rescue of embryo for safe labs. But the Institute was a titan with senators on payroll. She pocketed the vial. "We keep him safe first, then the world." They fled into night, navigating alleys until city swallowed clinic glow. At dawn, they reached an abandoned biorepository Dev's college once used for startup space. Power still flowed through a hackable grid. Inside dusty labs, they found dormant incubators and micropipette kits. Dev sterilized a chamber while Mara downloaded the stolen data. Screen graphs projected viability windows, CRISPR off-switch possibilities. Among charred jargon, she spotted a line. "Fail-safe vector responds to doxycycline analog NOR43. She gasped. "There's an antidote." Dev leaned over. "If we splice analog receptor to early embryo stage, gene drive nulls." "But we only have basic lab gear," Mara said. He squeezed her shoulders. "We're bioengineers now." He opened reagent cabinets, pried lids off freeze-dried enzymes. With every click of centrifuge, Mara's dread recalibrated into furious purpose. 36 sleepless hours later, they introduced a lipid-wrapped CRISPR payload through microinjection. The embryo survived. They monitored for off-target edits. Indicators glowed green. L-Zeta locus crept from active to silent, like a tiger tranquilized. Dev slumped, tears carving tracks through grime. Mara hadn't cried. She was beyond water, forged of bright wire. But they were fugitives. Lucidalife would hunt electronic trails. They wiped networks, packed embryo into portable incubator, and walked to the bus terminal at dawn disguised as medical couriers. Destination: rural research monastery where Dev's mentor now taught genetics ethics. On the ride, they sat apart, pretending to be strangers, only their knees touching in staccato bumps. Mara watched sunrise-stained cornfields, each stalk an antenna for hope. She whispered to the incubator, "Hold on." The bus hissed into motion, leaving city towers like needle tips behind. News tickers on passengers' phones flickered. Fire at Lucidalife. Several embryos lost, investigation pending. No mention of theft. Mara allowed a thin smile. Cover-up already. Hours passed. Dev handed her lukewarm coffee. "When he's born," he murmured, "what should we tell him?" "The truth," she answered. "That before he had a body, he had a choice. And he chose the world, but on his own terms." Dev nodded. "Name?" "Phoenix," she said, gazing at the incubator's tiny glow. Not for ashes, but for flight after flame. Outside, highway miles unspooled like unbound DNA, and the horizon widened to fit possibility. Behind them, contracts still threatened, algorithms still plotted, but ahead there was only movement, uncertainty, and a fragile promise waiting to unfold, cell by silent cell.